Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum and welcome back in lecture number 24. And before we go into our lecture, let's remind what did we study in our previous lecture. In fact, we solved few problems at the end of the chapter number 13, and today we are going to discuss chapter number 14. So in chapter number 13, we discussed different concepts. Actually, they were about the evaluation of the projects, that which project should be accepted and which project should be rejected, and how to rank the projects according to their input towards the wealth maximization. और उसमें हमने डिस्कस किया था there were different problems in that. The techniques we use, that is capital budgeting techniques. In that we studied payback period method and also net present value, internal rate of return, and profitability index. So all these techniques, on the one hand, they facilitate the firms or the businesses or the management to take some decision, but at the same time we should have to be very much careful कि जब हम इन टेक्निक्स को यूज़ करते हुए किसी प्रोजेक्ट को, किसी प्रपोजल को एक्सेप्ट या रिजेक्ट करें, तो उसके अंदर हमें बहुत सारी चीज़ें जो हैं उनका ख्याल रखना होगा. फॉर एग्जांपल, वी हैव टू रैंक द प्रोजेक्ट समटाइम्स. उसमें प्रोजेक्ट्स के डिफरेंट जो अल्टरनेट प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं, जो डिफरेंट ऑप्शंस हैं, उनमें समटाइम्स प्रोजेक्ट का साइज जो है, साइज ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट जो है, वो दैट विल मैटर आल्सो. And also the cash flow pattern. Sometimes one investment results in an increasing cash flow pattern while the other one would result in a decreasing cash flow pattern. और उसके अलावा life of the project, that is also very much important कि दो जो different options हैं उनमें उनके life pattern क्या है. So these things we have to consider, and also we try to describe the situations where ranking projects may be necessary and justify when to use either IRR, net present value, or profitability index rankings. और इसके अलावा हमने ऐसी सिचुएशन जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल कैपिटल रैशनिंग का प्रॉब्लम है, जहां बजट्स जो हैं दे आर एडजस्टेड और फिक्स्ड एट अ लेवल. तो विद इन दैट बजट फर्म ने डिफरेंट प्रोजेक्ट्स में इन्वेस्टमेंट करनी है. सो इन दैट केस फर्म अपने जो प्रपोज्ड प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं उनको रैंक करेगी यूजिंग ऑल दीज टेक्निक्स. और उसमें जो आइडिया है कि वो प्रोजेक्ट्स जो हैं वो अडॉप्ट किए जाएंगे जो फर्म की वेल्थ में सबसे ज़्यादा कंट्रीब्यूट कर रहे होंगे. तो उसमें नेट प्रेजेंट वैल्यू एक मेजर है कि हर प्रोजेक्ट जो है वो कितना नेट प्रेजेंट वैल्यू ऐड कर रहा है. लेकिन नेट प्रेजेंट वैल्यू इटसेल्फ अगेन ये एक एग्जैक्ट मेजर नहीं है, क्योंकि अगर आपके पास एक बजट की लिमिट है और आप उसमें से यूजिंग दैट लिमिट आप कोई दो प्रोजेक्ट्स जिनकी नेट प्रेजेंट वैल्यू मैक्सिमम है वो चूज़ कर लेते हो, एंड देन यू कांट सिलेक्ट द थर्ड प्रोजेक्ट बिकॉज आपके पास बजट कंस्ट्रेंट्स हैं. तो लेकिन इस एट द सेम टाइम अगर आप कोई ऐसा प्रोजेक्ट चूज़ कर लें जिसमें आपका जो बजट है दैट कैन बी यूज्ड मैक्सिमम, तो इन दैट केस द नेट कंट्रीब्यूशन मे बी मोर देन द नेट प्रेजेंट वैल्यू मेथड. सो वी हैव टू यूज ऑल द रैंकिंग टेक्निक्स एंड वी हैव टू फाइंड आउट विच टेक्निक can contribute maximum to the firm's value. And also we try to understand the sensitivity analysis, which allows us to challenge the single point input estimates used in traditional capital budgeting analysis. And also we try to explain the role and process of project monitoring, including progress reviews and post completion audits. तो ये सारी चीज़ें, फॉर एग्जांपल द पोस्ट कंप्लीशन ऑडिट और द प्रोग्रेस रिव्यू, दे आर वेरी मच इम्पॉर्टेंट कि द फर्म्स एफिशिएंसी कैन बी इंक्रीज टू द मैक्सिमम व्हेन वी अडॉप्ट ऑल दीज डिफरेंट मेथड्स. So in today's chapter, which is chapter number 14 in the financial management policy by Van Horn, it is about the risk and managerial real options in capital budgeting. And the learning outcomes of this chapter are, after studying chapter 14, you should be able to define the riskiness of a capital investment project and understand how cash flow riskiness for a particular period is measured, including the concepts of expected value, standard deviation, and coefficient of variation. And also you will be able to describe methods for assessing total project risk, including a probability approach and a simulation approach. And keep in mind कि आज जो हम lecture जो हमारा आज का lecture है, that is up till this third point, which is describe methods for assessing total project risk, including probability approach. So we are going to discuss until probability approach, and from the simulation approach that will make our next chapters, next lectures part. And also let me quote all the learning outcomes of this chapter. And the next, you will be able to judge projects with respect to their contribution to total firm risk, a firm portfolio approach, and you will be able to understand how the presence of managerial real options enhances the worth of an investment project. And also you will be able to list, discuss and value different types of managerial real options. And let's come to the topics what we are going to study in this chapter. The problem of project risk, the total project risk, contribution to total firm risk, that is the firm portfolio approach, and managerial real options. So these are the topics we are going to cover in this chapter. And before we talk about the risk of the projects, let me introduce you few terms, that is the statistical tools we are going to use here. And these are the, first of all, the expected value and the standard deviation. The expected value is the weighted average of possible outcomes with weights being probabilities of occurrence. जब हम कहते हैं expected value, तो it means कि for every expected outcome we assign a probability value to it. For example, अगर हम कहते हैं कि in the month of November firm की sales जो हैं, there is a 50% probability कि firm की sale जो है वो 100,000 होगी, and then we say there is 30% probability कि firm की sale जो है वो 120,000 होगी, and then we say 20% probability है कि firm की sale 200,000 होगी. तो अब for every outcome there is a probability, और जब expected value क्या होगी कि हम हर outcome को, हर expected outcome को जो हमने यहाँ पे लिखी हैं या consider की हैं, we multiply them with the respective probability and we add them up, and that will give us the expected value. So this is the weighted average of the outcomes. And then the standard deviation, it's a statistical measurement of the variability of distribution around its mean. Standard deviation जो है उसको हम किसी भी गिवन सैंपल की, किसी की गिवन डाटा में जब हम उसकी मीन वैल्यू या एक्सपेक्टेड वैल्यू जो काउंट करते हैं, जो मेजर करते हैं, हम उसको कैलकुलेट करते हैं, तो उस एक्सपेक्टेड वैल्यू से जो डाटा है वो किस तरह से डिस्पर्स्ड है उसके अराउंड. सो दैट गिव्स अस द स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन कंसेप्ट. एंड अनदर स्टैटिस्टिकल मेजर इज कोएफिशिएंट ऑफ वेरिएशन, व्हाट वी डिनोट as CV. And so actually the standard deviation sometimes can be misleading in comparing the risk or uncertainty. So when we calculate the standard deviation, sometimes it doesn't give us the real picture. So in that case, we take the coefficient of variation. It is the ratio of the standard deviation of a distribution to the mean of that distribution. That is the ratio of standard deviation with the mean of that distribution. For example, if you calculate standard deviation for a distribution and then you calculate the expected value or the mean value, so standard deviation divided by that expected value will give us the ratio, which we call as coefficient of variation. So it is a measure of relative risk, and smaller the coefficient of variation, the lesser the risk. जब हम कोई भी दो प्रोजेक्ट्स हो या मोर देन टू प्रोजेक्ट्स को हम कंपेयर कर रहे हैं आपस में, एंड वी हैव टू पिक वन और टू ऑफ देम, तो हम किन प्रोजेक्ट्स को वैल्यू ज़्यादा देंगे, कौन से प्रोजेक्ट्स जो है वो दे विल बी रेटेड हाईली, उनमें कोएफिशिएंट ऑफ वेरिएशन जो है वो मिनिमम होना चाहिए. लेसर द कोएफिशिएंट ऑफ वेरिएशन, इट इज़ बेटर, द लेसर द रिस्क विद इट. अ प्रोजेक्ट विद लोअर कोएफिशिएंट ऑफ वेरिएशन इज़ बेटर. And then the data is of two types. There is a discrete and a continuous distribution. So when we take different outcomes, so there is a possibility कि किसी भी outcome के लिए हमारे पास दो तरह का डाटा हो सकता है. One is discrete and the other one is continuous. डिस्क्रीट की एग्जांपल आप इस तरह से ले सकते हैं कि व्हेन यू थ्रो अ कॉइन and there is head and tail, so each head and tail has 50% chances, right? But there is no possibility कि head या tail के अलावा भी कोई उसमें dimension appear हो, या अगर आप you have a die which carries 6 numbers around it, और अगर आप उसको फेंकें तो that is a possibility कि या 1 2 3 4 5 और 6 उनमें से कोई एक नंबर अपीयर होगा. There is no possibility कि there is a number denoting 1.2, 1.5 or any number which is not marked on that die. So each number of that die has 1/6 probability, यानी हर नंबर के लिए 1/6 is the chance कि वो अपीयर होगा. लेकिन उस नंबर के अलावा कोई नंबर अपीयर नहीं हो सकता. जो 1 से 6 तक नंबर हैं उनके अलावा कोई नंबर अपीयर नहीं होगा. So this is a discrete distribution. Whatever numbers you try, you will get one number. लेकिन there is no possibility कि between 1 and 2 any number can appear. Okay? और अगर कोई ऐसा चांस हो, कोई ऐसी outcomes हो जिसमें for the probability between any two numbers is possible, so that will become continuous probability or the continuous distribution, sorry. And a continuous random variable is the one which can take a continuous range of values as opposed to a discrete contribution where the set of possible values of the random variable is most countable. While a discrete contribution, an event with probability 0 is impossible. For example, rolling, when we roll the die 3.5 on a standard die is impossible and has a probability of 0. This is not so in the case of a continuous random variable. For example, if one measures the width of an oak leaf, the result of 3.5 centimeter is possible. या अगर आप एक मीटर का कपड़े का एक पीस लें and without looking at any length, you just cut it in a piece and you make different pieces. So for each piece, any length is possible. But you can't say कि when you made 10 cuts of that 1 meter length of cloth, तो हर एक की वैल्यू जो है that will be 1 1 1 like that. तो उसमें any number of length is possible, so that will give you a continuous random distribution. So this is a difference कि जहाँ पे outcome जो है that is a discrete number, then we call it a discrete distribution. और जहाँ पे outcome जो है that can take place any number between two numbers. For example, if in the case of 1 meter cloth, so it can take place from 0 to 100. If you cut from any place, so from 0 to 100 any number is possible. So the probability distribution for each and every data will be kind of continuous distribution. And now we come to the proposals for different projects, and we compare them using standard deviation and coefficient of variation, and how we assign probabilities to different outcomes. And in this case, this is a discrete distribution. So we assume it is a discrete distribution where we take numbers like here you have seen the cash flows, that is 3,000, 3,500. We don't say that there is a possibility between 3,000 and 5,000 or 3,000 and 3,600, something like that. So we take discrete numbers here in this example. So you see कि हमने किसी भी प्रोजेक्ट के लिए, so we assume there are different states of economy are possible. For example, there is a deep recession. If there is a deep recession, the cash flow would be $3,000, and the probability of deep recession is 0.1% or 10%, sorry, in this case. So we take it is equal to 10% in fact. So you see the chance of deep recession is 10%, and in case of deep recession cash flow will become 3,000. And in case of mild recession, there is a probability of 20% that there will be a mild recession. So in case of mild recession, the cash flow would increase to 3,500. And if the state of economy is normal, so which is highly possible, that is the maximum possibility here, it is 40%. So then the cash flow pattern will take the shape of 4,000. And in case of minor boom, if the economy is growing and it is a little better, so in that case the chance of minor boom is 20% and the cash flow is 4,500. And in case of major boom, the firm is expecting maximum cash flow, that is 5,000. So for all these cash flows we have a probability associated. So we can draw it on a chart. So you can see here, for every possibility we have a cash flow, and you can see when at the maximum level, the 40% level, we have the possibility of $4,000 cash flow. And so this is a cash flow pattern, and you can see here the division between them, the distribution, the difference between 3,000 to the next possible cash flow is $500. So this shows the dispersion of the cash flow. And when we calculate the expected value, so using the same values of the cash flows, that is 3,000 in case of deep recession, then mild recession, then the normal conditions, and then minor boom and major boom, and we multiply them with their probabilities that is given for each possible outcome, and we get cash flow 1 into probability 1, that is for each cash flow the respective probability is given. So we can multiply them and we calculate the weighted average value for them. So for each value we multiply them with their probabilities and we get the expected value, and we denote it with the cash flow and carrying a bar sign on it. You can see here that is the CF denoting cash flow, and when we put a bar on it, it would mean expected cash flow or mean cash flow. And also keep in mind that the sum of all the probabilities is equal to 1. Okay, if we are talking about in 100% form, so if we say 10%, 20%, 40%, and 20%, and 10%, in that case it will make 100%. And now we have to calculate the standard deviation. So the formula for standard deviation is that we take the cash flows, the respective cash flows, minus the expected value, and we take a square of it, and then we multiply it again with the probability. So and then it will give us the variance, and we take a square root of variance, it will give us the standard deviation. So in our previous calculation we had that cash flows at each time, that was 300, and we multiplied the expected cash flows with the respective probabilities and we calculated this expected cash flow. So in this case we take the cash flows minus the mean value we calculated as expected values, and then we take a square of it, because we get minus signs here with it, and when we take a square of it, those are converted into positive signs, and then we again multiply them with the respective probabilities. So this was the outcome, and this was the mean, and we took a square root of it, and then we assigned probability to it, and we calculated all these values for each outcome. Okay, so now we multiply the previous calculations and we get the values here. That is, for the first calculation we have 100,000, then for the second one we have 50,000, and so on, and in total we have 300,000. And remember that we call this value as a variance. And when we summarize the proposal and we calculate the standard deviation as well. So you can see here the standard deviation, we also denote it with sigma, and this is equal to a square root of 300,000, that is 300,000 under root, and we calculate it as $548. So this is the standard deviation we calculated for proposal A. And the expected cash flow, which is the weighted average of the cash flows, this is 400,000, and it is denoted as cash flow and with a sign like this. We call it CF bar here. And coefficient of variation, we divide the standard deviation with the mean or the expected cash flow, which we determined as 4,000, and we have a coefficient of variation as 14%, or we can write it as 0.14. So CV is a measure of relative risk and is the ratio of standard deviation to the mean of the distribution. And also keep in mind the variance. In our previous slide, what we calculated was variance, that is 300,000. And when we take a square root of variance, that is equal to the standard deviation. And for proposal B, again the same thing. We have different cash flow pattern and different probabilities for each. And you can see here in the case of deep recession, the probability of that economic states is same for proposal B as well. So you can see here it is 10%, 20%, 40%, 20%, and 10%, the same pattern as we had in the previous proposal. And then the cash flow pattern is, you can see here it starts from 2,000 and with an increase of $1,000 in every next cash flow, that is it goes all the way to 6,000. So whereas in proposal A, हमारा जो cash flow जो expected outcome थी, that started from 3,000 to 5,000. उनके अंदर जो difference था, that was 500 for every outcome, possible outcome. अब हमारे पास जो proposal B का फर्स्ट ईयर का जो एक्सपेक्टेड आउटकम है वो ये है कि अगर डीप रिसेशन है तो देयर इट विल बी 2000, और अगर माइल्ड रिसेशन है तो इट कैन बी 3000, एंड इट कैन बी सो ऑन अप टिल 6000. एंड फॉर ईच आउटकम देयर इज अ प्रोबेबिलिटी कि दिस इज 10%, 20% फॉर ईच इकोनॉमिक स्टेट. सो देन वी कैलकुलेट we draw it on the chart, and you can see here in this case that the dispersion is $1,000, whereas in case of proposal A the dispersion was $500. And this is one of the measure, even if you don't go to the next calculations, but we have to go for that as well. But the first measure is the dispersion of data. हमारे पास जो डेटा था इन केस ऑफ प्रपोजल ए, उसमें हमारा जो पहला आउटकम थी एक्सपेक्टेड आउटकम वो थी 3000, एंड देन द नेक्स्ट वाज 3500. तो उसमें जो डिस्पर्जन है दैट वाज नॉट लार्ज, दे वर टाइटली डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड, वेयर एज इन केस ऑफ प्रपोजल बी दे आर नॉट टाइटली डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड एज कंपेयर टू प्रपोजल ए. सो वन ऑफ द मेजर इज द हायर द डिस्पर्जन द ग्रेटर द रिस्क. So in this case project A is preferable over project B, but we will check it with the next calculations, for example the standard deviation and the coefficient of coefficient of variation as well. So this is, if you plot both graphs on the same scale, you can see this is the project A, proposal A is tightly distributed and proposal B is loosely distributed, and we calculate the expected cash flow or the weighted average using the same technique, that we multiply the respective probabilities with the expected outcomes under different states of economic conditions, and we calculate the cash flow, expected cash flow, which is again the same. So keep in mind कि हमारे पास expected cash flow is same, and also keep in mind कि the highest possibility, that is 40%, for 40% possible outcome the cash flow is also same in project A and project B. But still, if you look at the dispersion in case of project B is greater than in project A. And if we continue further and we calculate for the standard deviation and coefficient of variation, so this is the formula, that is cash flow, the expected cash flows at every time of economic state, and then the mean value of those cash flows. We take a difference of them and we take a square of them, and then we assign probabilities again to this outcome. And when we calculate for this, we have the values for the first outcome. It is 400,000. So it is a then we calculate them all and we add them up and we calculate the variance. This is the variance. And we go further and we calculate the standard deviation. We take square root of the variance and we find that it is 1095. And remember that in case of proposal A, it was $548. And whereas the expected cash flow, it is same in both cases. And coefficient of variation, we divide the standard deviation with expected cash flow. So we have a figure of 27%. So in case of proposal A, it was 14%, and in case of proposal B, it is 27%. So the standard deviation of A is less than B. So A is less risky than B. And then the coefficient of variation of A is less than B. So again, A should be preferred over project proposal B. So in fact, the standard deviation is a measure of dispersion of the cash flows, the possible cash flows. So when we calculate the standard deviation, the lesser the standard deviation, the better it is for the firm or for that proposal. And there are total project risk. When we look at the data, I talked about the discrete and the continuous distribution of data. So in this case, in previous example, we took the discrete numbers, but it is possible for a project to have an outcome. For example, हमने जो different states of economy assume की थी, in case of deep recession, हमने जो पहली जो हमने जिसके साथ probability assign की थी of 10%, तो अगर हम उसके साथ ये लिख दें या ये assume करें कि instead of 3000 in case of proposal A, अगर हमने जो outcome लिखी है that is 3000, so if we say instead of 3000 हम अगर कहें कि the possible outcome of 3000 is between 10% and 20%, और अगर इस तरह से हम उनको रेंज में डिवाइड कर दें, then we have a set of continuous kind of set of data. So in that case, if we plot the cash flows, they will take this shape. Instead of independent bars like this, this and this, in case of continuous distribution, they will take a shape like this, that every point on this shape is possible, then it will be a continuous distribution. So if we look at the example here, so in the first year, if the distribution is like this, so then it is better for the firm, because जो mean इसकी line है that is in the middle, इससे जितना भी distance कम होगा that is better. और अगर इससे distance increase होता चला जाएगा, it means the dispersion is increasing, so the standard deviation value would also be increasing. So this is not good for the firm. So the continuous projects are more likely to have continuous rather than discrete distribution. हमारे पास जो projects हैं उनकी जो outcomes हैं, they are instead of discrete numbers, it is possible to have any number. So then we have to take another set of calculations. Then we use the probability tree approach. That is, we assume different outcomes and then we assign probabilities to them, and for the next year again, हम हर outcome के आगे again we determine different outcomes, and for all those outcomes again we assign probabilities to them. So this is clear from the probability tree approach. So हम इसमें assume करते हैं कि the firm is going to start a project that has an initial cost today of $240, and then uncertainty surrounding the first year cash flows creates 3 possible cash flow scenarios in year 1. अब हमारे पास जो इनिशियल कैश इन्वेस्टमेंट है, जो इनिशियल कैश आउटफ्लो है, उसके बाद आफ्टर द 1 ईयर जो एक्सपेक्टेड कैश इनफ्लोज हैं दे आर डिफरेंट. फॉर एग्जांपल इन दिस केस हम अज्यूम करते हैं कि फॉर द फर्स्ट ईयर देयर इज अ 25% पॉसिबिलिटी कि आउटकम जो है कैश फ्लो विल बिकम $500. ओके, एंड देन देयर इज अ 50% प्रोबेबिलिटी कि आउटकम जो है दैट विल बिकम $200, यानी जो कैश इनफ्लोज हैं, जो पॉसिबल कैश इनफ्लोज हैं. एंड देन अगेन देयर इज 50% प्रोबेबिलिटी कि कैश फ्लोज जो हैं दैट विल बी अ नेगेटिव दैट विल कैरी अ नेगेटिव साइन, दैट इज अ लॉस. And then we have 3 nodes here. That is, first one is 25% chance of $500 cash flow, and then node 3 represents 50% chance of $200 cash flow, and then again there is a 25% chance of a negative cash flow, that is $100. So in case of probability tree approach, the pattern of cash flows of the second year is highly dependent on the cash flow pattern of the first year. So what we expect, so whatever probability we assign for the first year's cash flows, that also have an impact on the second year's cash flow. So for example, अगर हमने जो फर्स्ट ईयर का कैश फ्लो अस्यूम किया था दैट इज $500, इट मीन्स कि नेक्स्ट ईयर का कैश फ्लो जो है दैट शुड बी अराउंड $500, or depending on the project it should carry some good amounts in the next year as well. Whereas in case of $100 it should have some because the project is a risky project because of the negative cash flow, so next year के जो cash flows हैं they will also be carrying some risk with it, so they will also be somewhere in the lower ranges. Okay, and then in case of the 200 cash flow in the first year where the possibility is maximum, the probability is high, that is 50%. So in that case it has a reflection on the next year's cash flow as well. So in this case you can see here the cash flow pattern, the possible cash flow patterns is 500 which has 20% chance, and 200 again which has maximum chance, that is 60% with it, and a negative cash flow which has a possibility of 20% here. So for the first year's cash flow which are the possible cash flows in the first year, और उनको हमने assign कर दी probabilities कि इसका कितना चांस है, दूसरे कैश फ्लो का कितना चांस है, और तीसरे कैश फ्लो का कितना चांस है हमारे फर्स्ट ईयर के कैश फ्लो के लिए. एंड देन फॉर ईच पॉसिबल कैश फ्लो जिसको हमने डिफरेंट प्रोबेबिलिटीज असाइन की थी, उनके लिए नेक्स्ट ईयर के कैश फ्लोज जो हैं वो हमने डिटरमिन किए, दैट इज सपोज किए इनफैक्ट, और उनके साथ उनकी जो पॉसिबल प्रोबेबिलिटीज हैं वो भी हमने कोट की इन दिस केस. So each node in year 2 represents a branch of our probable tree, and the probabilities are said to be conditional probabilities. अब आप देख सकते हैं कि the probabilities in the first year are given here, and the second year probabilities, they are conditional probabilities and they depend on the probabilities in the first year. So these are the conditional probabilities, and in our calculations we take joint probability as well. That is, we multiply the probabilities given in the first year and we multiply them with the probabilities of the second year as well. So that will be called as joint probability, उसको हम next calculation में determine करेंगे. And as you can see, this takes a shape of a tree, that it started with a stem or root here and it grows in a tree like this, and again there are branches. So there are 9 branches in our tree here. We assumed that in year 1 there are 3 nodes, and then in the year 2 there are, for each node there are 3 branches. So in total we have 9 branches, and the possible outcomes are mentioned here. And as I mentioned you that we will determine the joint probabilities for each of this branch. So you can see here that we multiplied the first year's probability with the second year's first outcomes probability, and then second probability, and then the third probability, and we have these joint probabilities of the first and second year. So you can see here the probability denoted as P1 and 2, that is the joint probability of the first and second year. And then it means that for every possible combination, for example, if the first year's combination is 500 and the second year's 800, so for this combination we have a probability of 10%, and the next combination of 500 and 500 we have a probability of 10% again, and for each combination we have a probability. So that probability is called joint probability. And now what we are supposed to determine is the net present value. So in each case, for different probabilities, we calculate the weighted average net present value so that we can finally determine the net present value or the worth of that project, whether it is good or not. And keep in mind कि हमने इसमें जो रेट लेना है टू डिस्काउंट इट, फॉर एग्जांपल द कैश फ्लो आफ्टर 1 year एंड द कैश फ्लोज आफ्टर 2 years, हमने उसको प्रेजेंट वैल्यू पे जब लेके आना है तो वी विल यूज अ रेट विच इज रिस्क फ्री रेट इन दिस केस, बिकॉज हमने अपने जो पिछले चैप्टर में कैलकुलेशंस की थी उसमें हमने जो हर्डल रेट या रिक्वायर्ड रेट एज्यूम किया था, जो डिस्काउंट रेट हमने उसमें एज्यूम किया था, उसमें हमने रिस्क प्रीमियम ऐड किया हुआ था, बिकॉज हमने उसमें प्रोबेबिलिटीज असाइन नहीं की थी. जो भी कैश फ्लो हमने एज्यूम किया था हमने उसको एज अ डिस्क्रीट सेट ऑफ पॉसिबल आउटकम लिया था, और वी टुक ओनली द मैक्सिमम possible outcome, that is the possibility that this is the probable outcome. हमने सिर्फ एक ही के साथ 100% साइन की हुई थी probability. So in that case हमारे पास जो risk premium था वो high था, so we added that risk premium into our required rate of return. लेकिन in this case हमने probabilities में risk को cover कर रहे हैं. So in that case अगर हम इसमें दोबारा risk ऐड करेंगे रिस्क प्रीमियम अपने रिक्वायर्ड रेट में तो हम इसका डबल इम्पैक्ट ले रहे होंगे. सो हियर वी विल टेक द रिस्क फ्री रेट. सो व्हेन वी से रिस्क फ्री रेट इट विल बी ऑब्वियसली लेस देन द रिक्वायर्ड रेट ऑफ रिटर्न दैट वी अज्यूम्ड इन आवर चैप्टर 13, एंड देन we use this formula for the expected net present value. Then the net present value for each outcome here starting from I to Z. So in this case the value is from 1 to 9. So we take net present value for each value starting from 1 to 9, and then we multiply it with the giant probability that we calculated for the year 1 and 2. So we can use this formula for the net present value, that is the cash flow of the first outcome and then cash flow of the second outcome, and we use a risk free rate and we calculate the present value and we minus out the initial cash outflow which we assumed as $240, and it will give us a net present value for each combination. So we have 9 combinations, 9 branches. So you can see here we calculated net present value for this rate, and we assume a rate in this case equal to 8%. So we calculate the net present value for each combination, and we assume for the calculation the risk-free rate, that is RF, is equal to 8%. So for this rate we discount the first year's cash flow and then the second year's cash flow, and we take the collective cash flow for the first possible combination, that is CF1, and so on. We calculate the net present value of all the possible cash flows. So this is net present value. because we discount the cash flows of the year 1 and year 2, and we have net present values for all the 9 years, for all 9 possible combinations, and we further proceed towards the expected net present value. So when we say expected net present value, तो हमने जो giant probabilities calculate की थी for each possible combination, हम उसको for each possible combination के साथ respective probability को multiply करेंगे, and then we add them up, so that will give us the expected net present value. So you can see here, पिछली स्लाइड में हमने जो net present values calculate की थी from 1 to 9, that is NPVI. I starts from 1 and it goes all the way to 9 branches, and we has calculated the joint probabilities of year 1 and year 2, and then we multiply them with each other and we calculate the net present value which is expected, or the weighted average net present value. We denote it with NPV bar. And now we calculate the variance, the standard deviation, and the coefficient of variation for this. So you can see here, to calculate the variance, we have this formula. In fact, we are going to calculate the standard deviation. So for that, we have this formula, that NPVI, which we calculated as this in these figures, and then we deduct from it the expected net present value, which we calculated in our previous slide as 116, and we took a square of that value and we multiply it with the giant probability of year 1 and year 2. So then we calculate all these values here, and then actually here it is, if we round it to the closest digit, it will become 0, and it is because we have a net present value of 116 and the expected present value as 116, and we multiply it with the giant probability, which is 30%, is like this. So we calculate it as this. So, but if we round it off to the closest digit, it will become 0. So what I just, because it is not 0, I mentioned it here, but when we take the total of this value, so we round it off to the closest digit, so effectively it becomes 0 here. So then this is the variance, and we calculate the standard deviation. We take a square root of this value and we get a standard deviation of 451, and for this value, when we want to calculate the coefficient of variation, so it will be equal to standard deviation divided by the expected net present value. So it is equal to 451 divided by 116. So it will become 3.88. So this is the coefficient of variation in this case. And that was our today's lecture, and in our next lecture we will be going to the in depth the further analysis, and also we will discuss the managerial options. And in fact, one thing you have to keep in mind कि हमने जो पिछले लेक्चर में कैश फ्लोज एज्यूम किए थे, हमने जो पॉसिबल कैश फ्लो था उसको 100% प्रोबेबिलिटी के साथ एज्यूम किया था, और उसके अंदर हमने जो रिस्क था कि ये इससे वेरी कर सकता है, हमने उसके लिए रिस्क प्रीमियम ऐड किया था अपने रिक्वायर्ड रेट ऑफ रिटर्न में, यानी हमने रिक्वायर्ड रेट ऑफ रिटर्न थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा एज्यूम किया था. लेकिन इन दिस केस, इन दिस चैप्टर, जब हम उसको प्रोबेबिलिटी डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के साथ कैलकुलेट करेंगे, तो हम हर पॉसिबल आउटकम के लिए, यानी जो हमने फर्स्ट ईयर में जो एक कैश फ्लो आएगा फॉर वन प्रोजेक्ट, उस एक कैश फ्लो के लिए हम 3 डिफरेंट कैश फ्लोज assume करते हैं कि मे बी this cash flow will come out, or maybe the second cash flow or the third one. So for each cash flow there is a possibility कि अगर इकोनॉमिक कंडीशन अच्छी हुई, उसकी probability है 10%, तो उसके साथ कैश फ्लो ये होगा, और अगर इकोनॉमिक कंडीशन अच्छी ना हुई तो उसके साथ probability उसकी इतनी है और ये कैश फ्लो ये होगा. तो इस तरह से हम एक एक्सपेक्टेड कैश फ्लो डिटरमिन करते हैं और इसी तरह से हम नेक्स्ट ईयर का कैश फ्लो जो है उसकी फिर डिफरेंट पॉसिबिलिटीज प्रोबेबिलिटीज असाइन करते हैं डिफरेंट एक्सपेक्टेड कैश फ्लोज के लिए, और इस तरह से हम उसमें रिस्क जो है वो कैलकुलेट कर रहे होते हैं। तो इसके अंदर हम रिस्क फ्री रेट एज्यूम करेंगे जब हम कैलकुलेट करेंगे। और एक और चीज़ हमने जहन में रखनी है कि रिस्कीनेस ये है क्या। जो हमारी एक्सपेक्टेड आउटकम्स हैं वो अगर हमारी एक्चुअल आउटकम से बहुत ज़्यादा डिफ़र करें तो जो वेरिएंस है इसके अंदर दैट इज़ द रिस्क। तो जितना ज़्यादा उसमें वेरिएंस होगा उतना ही रिस्क हाई होगा। एंड फर्दर व्हेन वी कम टू द डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ आवर डाटा, तो उसके अंदर जितना स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन ज़्यादा होगी इट मीन्स कि उसमें डिस्पर्जन उतनी ज़्यादा है। यानी हमारे पास जो सेट ऑफ डाटा है उसके अंदर जो डिस्टेंस है बिटवीन देम वो भी मैटर करता है, और जितना ज़्यादा डिस्टेंस होगा उतनी ही ज़्यादा रिस्क उसमें होगा, और जितना रिस्क ज़्यादा होगा फर्म की वैल्यू उतनी कम होगी। और अगरचे रिस्क प्रोफाइल ज़्यादा होने की हो और उसमें प्रोजेक्ट का पोटेंशियल बेशक बहुत ज़्यादा भी हो, लेकिन हाई रिस्क के साथ फर्म को जो डिफरेंट कैपिटल प्रोवाइडर्स हैं वो अवेलेबल नहीं होंगे, और इट इज़ हाईली पॉसिबल कि फर्म की मैनेजमेंट, फर्म के शेयर होल्डर्स और उसके क्रेडिटर्स, व्हेन वी से क्रेडिटर्स इट मीन्स मे बी द सप्लायर्स और मे बी द इन्वेस्टर्स, तो उसमें अगर वो रिस्क अवर्स हैं, वो रिस्क पसंद नहीं करते, तो इन दैट केस फर्म को वेरी प्रिसाइजली अपने रिस्क जो है वो कैलकुलेट करना होंगे। और इसके साथ साथ फर्म को अपना जो रिस्क प्रोफाइल है दैट हैज़ टू बी मेंशन्ड देयर सच दैट द कैपिटल प्रोवाइडर्स, द इन्वेस्टर्स, वो उसको प्रॉपरली मॉनिटर कर सकें और उसके अंदर इन्वेस्टमेंट अकॉर्डिंगली अवेलेबल हो सके। और फर्म को जो अपना रिक्वायर्ड रेट ऑफ रिटर्न है उसको अपने इन्वेस्टर्स की या कैपिटल प्रोवाइडर्स की एक्सपेक्टेशंस के बराबर लाने के लिए वो फर्म को वेरी प्रिसाइज कैलकुलेशन करना होगी, और वो प्रोजेक्ट्स एज्यूम करना होंगे जिसमें फर्म की वैल्यू जो है वेल्थ मैक्सिमाइजेशन वो पॉसिबल हो। और आज के लेक्चर में जो हमने डिस्कस किया था वो दैट वाज अबाउट द रिस्कीनेस ऑफ कैपिटल इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रोजेक्ट्स, एंड आल्सो वी ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड how cash flow riskiness for a particular period is measured, including the concept of expected value, the standard deviation and coefficient of variation. और इसके अलावा we try to describe methods for assessing total project risk including a probability approach. हमने उसमें probability tree approach आज के लेक्चर में डिस्कस की, और नेक्स्ट लेक्चर में हम simulation approach डिस्कस करेंगे। So this was all for our today's lecture. Inshallah, see you in our next lecture. Till then, Assalamu alaikum.